So here's the DeskCycle. You can see it's under my desk, and I've got a tether here. This is the tether. It's just a Velcro strap. So if you have a roller chair, like these roll on the floor, it just keeps you to get connected to it. Mostly you're pedaling downwards, but if there's any, this thing doesn't move like laterally at all. It's a pretty solid device. And there's the knob for setting the resistance. And in the display back there, it's a little bit dark, but there's a display. It's got the calories and the distance and that. And yeah, I'm loving this thing. I'm probably going to move it over. Well, I'll probably leave it here for now, but I might move it over to the couch sometimes as well. If you, I'm 6 feet, so it's a little. I pull it out a little bit from the keyboard, but I'm pretty close and I'm able to type. And I was working yesterday, so hope that helps you guys. Hey guys, it's Will from Potato Strong. Just want to tell you about this new thing I bought. It's called a DeskCycle. It goes under your desk and you can cycle all day while you're working. And the reason I got that is, there's a bunch of reasons, but Darian Ryder, in his videos talks a lot about cycling, and he got me to go off the coffee. He'd kind of go on about coffee and caffeine and adrenaline and stuff like that, and I just, eventually thought, yeah, and I just, kept hearing the message. So he talked a lot about bike cycling a lot. And so, but I sort of thought about my situation. I don't have to drive to work, so there's no reason to, ride my bike instead. I'm at home all day, and I like to sit on the computer. I sit when I practice guitar, and I sit on the couch when I watch TV. So I've mentioned I'm very sedentary. Even for people that might exercise for an hour, do cardio or whatever, depending on the, how much you do it, it's not, my main focus is really getting people to realize it's the food that they eat. But for health and fitness, it's good to do a little bit of exercise. And my preference has generally been to do some body weight, like, exercises, chin-ups and dips and push-ups and that type of thing. But, I see these articles about sitting and inactivity, and just all this stuff sort of, came to a head, and I decided to I was thinking about, what should I get to do this? Should I go get a bike and start riding outside? And should I, everybody will have different things they're interested in. If you're already active, it's not a big deal if you love to run or play sports, or there's all these different activities. But, I'm in a small town, there's not really activities and that I like, so I like soccer and maybe ball hockey or something like that. But, is it going to be every day? Is there other practices and driving there and doing that sort of thing? So I'm kind of a homebody. I like to stay home. So I tried to think about what I like to do. And I've got a treadmill. It's not really easy to type or do anything. You can watch TV. You can potentially listen to, watch videos or listen to a podcast, which is cool. But I really like to be, like I said, I practice guitar. I'm on the computer checking, the social media, as well as I work 1 day a week. I do computer programming. So I was happy to get this DeskCycle yesterday. And I did it for quite a few hours while I was working. I've got my keyboard here, and I was able to, I was talking on the phone. I was using the keyboard and doing work, and it really had no impact on, it just became second nature after. And the DeskCycle has a low profile, so they have another thing called Magnetrainer. The great thing about the DeskCycle is it's magnetic for the resistance. So a lot of bikes, stationary bikes, and that have this, like a strap that goes around the wheel, and it uses friction, and it makes noise when it's rubbing on that. And this thing is super quiet, and it's got a low profile for, like, I'm 6 feet, and I'm not completely right under the desk, but I'm close enough that I can use the keyboard. I've had a keyboard that was lower ergonomic, and that that wouldn't work so great if it's like close to your lap, because your legs are going up and down. So the keyboard is a bit higher on my desk now. I had a little lower shelf that I could slide out for the keyboard, but I moved that, took that away. Other people have raised their desk up, so if you have a desk that might not be high enough. The other thing is there's lots of scenarios where you're not at your desk. You could be on the couch, or you could be sitting in a chair or whatever. So there's lots of other scenarios that you can use. I'll put a link below. It was about $150 on Amazon plus shipping. I think it came to about $200. It's super easy to hook up. There's only a couple of parts that you have to bolt together, and they already had the bolts in the holes, and they provide a little wrench. And you just attach a couple of pedals, and there's a little LED, and that's got like calories and time and distance. And the calories aren't really accurate unless you're using the highest resistance, which is 8. It goes from 1 to 8. 1 is like no resistance, so if you don't want to get too sweaty and you just want to move, that would be perfect. I eventually started doing number 2, and I'm on number 2 setting, and I'll go from there. I wanted to see how I'd react. So the calorie calculation is not really accurate in a lot of cases, but they've got an online calculator at DeskCycle.com, and you can put in your weight and the various scenarios. Like, this thing will track the distance and the time, and with those calculations, you can get a more accurate measurement. And it also tells you how much you would burn just at rest. So it's just the difference between what you would have burned just sitting there and what you would burn. So I figure, during the day I could use this for quite a few hours, and even in the evenings. I tend to watch TV in the evenings. Yeah, so I just wanted to be more active, and just because I felt bad about the sedentary nature. And it's like, in Canada, we get quite a bit of snow in January to March or April. It's really, and the banks are piled up high, and it's quite narrow road with, for walking. And I just wanted to have this because I just looked at myself and said, hey, I'm on the computer a lot. That's just my nature. There's so many other things you could do. You could actually cycle, you could run, you could play sports, like I mentioned. But I really thought this makes sense for me. You could take it to work. I'm sure it's super quiet. And if there's certain scenarios where it didn't work for you, like if you were really concentrating, or you didn't, something, you would just not do it during that time. But there's a lot of situations where you're, you could be reading things, you could be typing emails, you could be watching things, videos or whatever, or talking on the phone. Those are amazing scenarios. So even if you got a half an hour or an hour in, I always look at things in a practical nature. Like when I do the bodyweight training, it's a set here, a set there, quick and dirty. I don't try to avoid it because it's a big, long hour and a half gym session that people don't want to go to, or get out and drive to a gym or something. And so this will just be, it's like multitasking. You just want to be able to do this. And like I say, I'm on the computer, so it made perfect sense for me. It might not make sense for you, depending on what your goals are. So hopefully that helps. I'll show another clip of the device, and you guys can check that out. And I put a link below on Amazon, and it's a really high quality device. And I gave it a huge thumbs up. I'm like so excited about doing this and getting into this. And maybe in the spring I'll pick up a bike and start riding outside. But this will get my legs warmed up for that, hopefully, and help me get a little more active from just being sitting all day. So you can see the straps down there. It's got a tether, so I've got the seat that's got a roller, 5 rollers on it. So on a hardwood floor. So, but you're supposed to pedal downwards. There's a little meter as well. I'll show that as well. But you can hear super quiet. It uses magnetism. And there's the settings from 1 to 8 on that knob there. It's on 2 right now. But yeah. And then I'm going to probably move this as well sometimes to the couch. But right now I do it enough during the day, yesterday, that I didn't really need to. Super easy to hook up. There's that bar there and the bar on the other side. It was just 2 bolts. A couple pedals get put in, and the LED display, it just plugs in. It's just a plastic piece that plugs in with 1 battery. So it took me literally 5 minutes to hook up. And I just do this all day without really thinking about it. And over time, I'll probably, definitely increase the resistance. So there you go, guys. If you have any questions, post them in the YouTube video in the comments below, and I'll see if I can answer them for you. And you can also check their website for more questions as well. See you guys.